continue to grow. Feet move to the beat of the tabalo. Now dig the story and follow. For then it lands.
All right, and we're live. Good evening, and welcome to the fifth installment of our Inside the Jazz Note fall series here at Clements Place. My name is Alex Lorenzi, and I'm the associate producer of this series. And on behalf of our founder and president, Melissa Walker, and our vice president and senior producer, Ted Chubb at Jazz House Kids, we sincerely thank you for coming out tonight, and we welcome you to this wonderful event. Special thanks to the New Jersey Council for the Humanities and the National Endowment for the Humanities for making this series possible. To our friends at Yardbird Entertainment for their help with the live stream production and all the lights and sound and making us look pretty. And another special thanks to our community partner here at the Institute for Jazz Studies, the great Wayne Winborn, the executive director, for hosting us here at Clements Place and making this possible as well. We've had a nice run of events. Like I said, this is the fifth installment, so the first two we had the wonderful historian Ashley Kahn, then we had Wayne hosting a wonderful conversation with Stefan Harris, and then last Thursday, we had the great Dr. Naomi Extra share a beautiful talk about jazz, gender politics, and poetry, and explore the work of Amina Baraka. Tonight, we are thrilled to welcome our guest speaker and performer. Originally from Cleveland, Ohio, he is recognized today as one of the world's greatest drummers, performing with the likes of Sonny Rollins, Christian McBride, Ron Carter, Hank Jones, Gerald Wilson, Wynton Marsalis and the Jazz and Lincoln Center Orchestra, the Count Basie Orchestra, Philip Bailey, and many, many others. An acclaimed band leader, composer, and music director, he's also an acclaimed scholar and educator. He's taught courses at Jazz and Lincoln Center's Swing University and curated programs for the National Jazz Museum of Harlem. He has served as the drum instructor at NJPAC at the Jazz for Teens program here in Newark, and was also the resident director of the Juilliard Jazz Orchestra from 2017 to 2021. Tonight, he will discuss and demonstrate the evolution of drum language from jazz to hip-hop. Without further ado, please welcome Jerome Jennings.
How's everybody? Y'all all right? Let me, while I'm turning my iPad on, making sure it won't lock up on us while we're talking. We're as in I'm talking. Okay, you're not opening. Okay, wait a minute. I want to thank Jazz House for hosting this. This is really important subject because too often we separate we like to sanction off the musics as yes, they're different art forms, but they come through the same root, right? The same tree from the same root. And make sure this does not close. Never. Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about the evolution of the drum briefly. Then I'm going to talk about, well, first, let me say this. This instrument right here, the way it looks right now, it's an innovation, an American innovation. It's an American thing because the drum, when it was further east in early beginnings of the instrument, it was played by more than one person. So it was a communal instrument, okay? And we have to understand that in Africa and other communities would use this instrument to communicate. And it was used to communicate occasions, emote emotions, and the various components of the drum was broken up, and it was broken up between people who would play one instrument, have one rhythmic assignment, hold that rhythmic assignment, and those different rhythms that each person would be assigned to play with create a conglomerate of rhythm, right? And very powerful rhythm. What happened in America is that through invention, these instruments were able to be played by one person. This is a bass drum. One person can play that bass drum now because of an invention called a bass drum pedal. This is a sock cymbal, but you take these two cymbals apart and you hold them with two hands, and one person can play the cymbals. But because of a hi-hat, we're able to do that. So one person is able to do that. So I want you all to keep that in mind. I want you to know that we're going to unpack the commonalities between these two genres, hip hop, quote unquote, and jazz music. Okay. Now this is I always, before I start these lectures, I want to quote KRS-One from a book called Ruminations. When we say that something has beginning, we are giving that something an identity, a label, an existence of its own for the purpose of convention and conversation. But the reality of some things, if something's beginning, is actually unexplainable because of the many known as well as unknowns that came into its coming into existence. So before we start, I want to let everybody know I'm going to leave a lot of people out of the discussion. It doesn't mean they're less important as the people I'm going to talk about, okay? So just understand that. So that'll come up periodically, okay? So let's deal with this. The drum in general in America, it comes through a march tradition, okay? So when you're dealing with a march, the tradition of the march, Philip Sousa, people like James Reese Europe, you've got several people playing in the quote-unquote drum or rhythm section. You have someone playing a bass drum. You have someone playing a snare drum. You have someone playing a cymbal. So when you hear early jazz music, what you're hearing is march tradition, but done in a different way. And one of the things that it's always apparent through black music is taking a tune that's already been written, redoing the tune, and putting your own thing on it. So there's some unsung rules here that I want to lay 4 rules out when it comes to the black American music tradition, okay? Regarding all art too. It's not just music, it's all art. Number 1, you have to be honest. Number 2, no biting. You can build on what's been done, but if you take it verbatim, it's corny, okay? Number 3, you have to respect your elders at every turn, okay? And number 4, synergies. You have to pass things on and encourage the ones coming up after you, okay? Those who are trying to push the envelope, okay? So I want to play you all something. This is called Washington and Lee Swing, okay? I want to play the original first. Maybe I need to turn this off first. Okay, here we go. Check it out.
So what's next? Tell them, yo.
After the commercial.
Rockstar Energy drink.
You get the point, all right? We got the point. So you hear this tune written in 1910. Now let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to a sound that comes through what's most considered as in the New Orleans tradition. What you're going to hear is, you're going to hear some polyphony. When I say polyphony, it means that everybody's playing at the same time, okay? But before we get to that, I want you to notice what the drums are doing, and I want you to notice that it's different. Hopefully you can notice that it's different. This is a cat named Nappy Lemaire and his Levy Loungers. Okay, good. We get the point? All right, right on. Okay, so I'm unfortunately for time's sake, I can't play the entire tunes, okay? So what you hear when you listen to this early style of drumming, what you're hearing is a march. I'm gonna play the first example. Okay? Now the second idea that you heard is where the innovation comes in. The innovation is always in the rhythmic line. That's where the innovation is. And then you hear sometimes, this is Zutty Singleton playing drums. Very important drummer of the early period of jazz, right? Right? You hear that. So that's what's happening when you get into the earlier innovations of jazz music, right? Now, I wanted you all to know that by the time hip-hop comes around, in like around 1975, 76, when people start saying what's happening in the Bronx is called this thing called hip-hop, jazz has gone through like at least 20 different iterations before it evolved, like 20 different times. So hip-hop is very young. But I want you to understand that this music, both musics, they follow a social. They come about because of social phenomena that happens in these neighborhoods where the music comes out of, right? So you've got at the turn of the century, you have in New Orleans and other places these things called black codes. They were called slave codes during slavery, where slaves had very little to no rights at all. But those rights, once black folks were freed, those rights were then recanted, revamped. The laws were revamped into what was called black codes. And these codes prevented folks who were Creole, mixed ancestry, to hang out with white folks. And it forced them to hang with the black musicians. The black musicians had very little to no training. The Creole musicians could actually study with white musicians, and sometimes they were even sent overseas to study. Now you have this mashup of black musicians learning from the Creole musicians and the Creole musicians learning from the black musicians. So this is where we get this amalgamation of rhythms and concepts and ideas. Now, what's happening in the Bronx around 1955, at 59, everybody wanted to be in the Bronx. But what happened is you had a commissioner named Robert Moses who began these projects, right? Where one of his particular projects was creating a highway that went directly through the Bronx. And it caused people who were there with businesses flourishing to move, and they took their businesses with them. So what happened was Latinos, black people, they ended up moving all over the Bronx. It got poor. The next thing that happened was a high-rise project, 15,000 unit project. This was called Co-op City, and it caused a lot of drama because now we're starting to see gangs come about, right? We're starting to see gangs come up in the Bronx. And what else is happening is music programs are being taken out of schools. Now, this is all over the country from poor neighborhoods. And instead of people playing instruments, they start to they go home and start using their parents' turntables as instruments. One of the first people to start partying and start to innovate this new instrument called a turntable, 2 turntables, mind you, was Kool Herc from Jamaica. And he's rocking parties. Now the thing is this, early hip hop with MCs and people who are masters of ceremonies, they're basically just rhyming over R&B hits from the past and R&B hits in the present. And what Herc is doing with these 2 turntables is he'll take the sweet spot of these tunes and in an innovative way be able to loop that sweet spot between 2 turntables. And it kept the party going, and it kept this energy happening. Now, Herc wasn't the only one doing this. After him, you had Grandmaster Flash. One of my absolute favorites is Grandmaster Cass, who could actually rhyme and rock the mic and keep the party going at the same time. Now, what I want you all to do, I want you all to check something out here. We're going to check out something. I want you to hear a tune that's going to be flipped in a minute. But let's listen to the original. You get it? As much as I want to turn that off. Okay. So you got Roger Troutman, Zap, and Zap. Now let's see how Cass flips it. Remember, number 2, everybody, you're allowed to take something and flip it. But you're allowed to take something, but you gotta make sure you flip it. You can't just do it the regular way. So let's check this out.
I'm like a gangster. So nice on the dice, I can hit crack twice. Hit a road, don't you know? Your face don't show. Well, I thought bad, too bad that you wish you had. I get glad you get mad when your girl gets had. Best friends to the end, never scared to lend, but recommend that you stand back to excellence. Bells chime when I rhyme.
That's not what I'm looking for. Hold up. I'm gonna have to paste this. Cutting and pasting. Here we go.
Hey, it's me, your dry skin. I'm craving something we're missing. The ceramides in CeraVe. They help restore my natural barrier.
Right about now, we just gonna give you more bounce. And if you don't know, I'm gonna let you know it's the Grandmaster Cass with the most pizzazz. I talk about that classical jazz. Rock the mic and play records with a lot of class. Got style, fucking razzmatazz. Guaranteed to rock your ass. Now I wanna hear Jimmy D say. I'ma do like I did at Stevenson. Yeah, going out to our man Leslie G. And Charlie Chase with the funky bass. Guaranteed to keep a smile up on your face. Tony Tone, never leaving the girls alone with them on the microphone until the cold crush more new and improved. And if you don't believe it, we gonna rock for you first and second date. Be on time because the cold crush for a rhyme and mastermind. And you know that, and you know that, and I know it, and you know it, and we know it, and she know it, and they know it, and he know it, and we know that. We gonna do it, we gonna do it. We know what we got to do it. Cold crush 4, give it, you want. The cold crush 4, with the rhymes galore, with the 4. Guaranteed to rock for sure, with the 4. Giving you more than the black door. Hip hop, y'all, don't stop, y'all. This ain't a beat rock, y'all. And he's Charlie Chase with the funky bass. And guaranteed to keep a smile up on your face. And he's told never leaving the girls alone. With them on the microphone, and listen, G, got abilities and G.
Okay, so y'all get the point. So you hear those drops, right? You hear those drops, like, and it's straight. It's more straight. Right? It's straight. But I want y'all to understand that it's functioning the same way that jazz music is functioning. So when you hear that early jazz, what we just heard, it's people on the floor getting busy. They're getting down. But I want y'all to understand, when you hear that break, when you hear these breakdowns, when you hear the
Black door, hip hop, y'all. Don't stop, y'all. This ain't a beat rock, y'all. And he's Charlie Chase with the funky bass. And guaranteed to keep a smile up on your face. And he's told, never leaving the girls alone. With him on the microphone, and listen, G, got abilities, and G is a big time celebrity. The Cold Crush 4. Gonna do it. We know what we got to do it. Cold Crush 4, give it, you want. The Cold Crush 4, with the rhymes galore, with the 4. Guaranteed to rock for sure, with the 4. Giving you more than the black door. Hip hop, y'all. Don't stop, y'all. This This ain't a beatbox, y'all. And these solid takes with the funk, your bass, and guaranteed to keep a smile up on your face. And these tone, never leaving the girls alone. When I'm on the microphone, and listen, G, got ability, easy G is a big time celebrity. The Cold Crush 4, new and the free. And if you don't believe it, we gonna rock for you. You gotta set the date, you gotta be on time, because the Cold Crush 4 around the masterminds in 8D. Rock the house, I'm most for the G.
Let me find his first drop.
Smile up on your face, Tony Tone, never leaving the girls alone with them on the microphone until the Cold Crush 4 new and approved. And if you don't believe it, we gonna rock for you. First you set the date, be on time, because the Cold Crush 4 around the mastermind. And you know that, and you know that, and I know it, and you know it, and we know it, and she know it, and they know it, and he know it, and we know that. We gonna do it, we gonna do it, we know what we got to do it. Cold Crush 4, give it, you want the Cold Crush 4. Guaranteed to rock your ass.
You hear that drop?
Now I want to hear Jerry D say.
So
Guaranteed.
they're called drops in hip hop, but this was happening before. It was happening way before. Let's check something out. I wanna check out. Let's check out some early Louis Armstrong, and I want y'all to just listen to these breaks. It's called the Workman's Blues. That was a break. 2 breaks. That's another break. So those breaks, when people heard those breaks in the audience, it actually made them go crazy. So when you hear these breaks, when we play in hip hop, it's coming from a tradition that's damn near 100 years before these breaks was happening. Okay? So we made a connection. So now let's fast forward. So we had our march, right? So somebody came along and said, you know what? Someone came along and said, we got to smooth that out. If you got this happening, you got that happening. You've got that groove happening, and that's cool. But somebody came along and said, let me move that from here to here. This is called a hi-hat cymbal. So what happened was, instead of lighting up on that bass drum, so it smoothed it out. But also, we got to know, too, 1917 is the very first recording, original Dixieland Jazz Band. We got more of that march thing happening. But see, by the time we get to the 30s, we got to smooth it out because life's conditions is different, right? Like, things is faster. The music is different. There's not a tuba, there's a bass player. So we got to smooth it out. The tuba plays more of a two-beat. Womp, 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 womp. The bass player plays more quarter notes. Doom, 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 doom. And that hi-hat functions very well with that. Check it out. Let's check something out.
Hey, hey!
Welcome to Apple.
I'm gonna help y'all hear this.
Do not hold back!
Okay, Josh.
Who remembers when YouTube didn't have commercials? Yeah, you old. Now I'm gonna fast forward, okay? This is where the groove is. I'm gonna fast forward to the trumpet solo, okay? After Lester Young does his thing. Buck Clayton. Who hears the hi-hats? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna stop it. So that's smoothed out. Now we evolving. The drum has evolved to in jazz music, swing music, the hi-hat is keeping the time. So by the time we get to like the late 80s, things start to get a little bit more advanced for drumming, for producers, I should say. And also remember, I want y'all we got to keep in mind that the DJ and the producer is like the band, it's like the arranger, it's like it's all in one. When jazz bands, the arrangers were just as important as the band leaders, if not more important. But in hip hop, your producer is everything, right? So once we start getting to the late 80s, things start to get a little bit more complex. I mean, when we're in the mid 80s, and early 80s, we dealing with more of a R&B type groove situation, right? Sugar Hill Gang kind of blew that wide open, but it was happening before they got on the scene. As you heard, Grandmaster Caz flipping. More bounce to the ounce. But once we get to the late 80s, the groove, it starts to change. It's not so straight anymore. It's not as straight as we heard when you get somebody like, let's say, LL. This kind of vibe. Right? TR8 802s.
My radio, believe me, I like it loud. I'm the man with the box that can rock the crowd. Walking down the street to the hardcore beat while my JVC vibrates the concrete. I'm sorry if you can't understand, but I need a radio inside my hand. Don't mean to.
Okay, so the groove at this point, early on, is straight. It's like it's very straight.
Party people, can yo get funky?
This way real early.
Sonic Force, can yo get funky? The Zulu Nation, can yo get funky? Yeah, just hit me. Just fix the funk and hit me. Just get on down and hit me. That vibe just getting so funky now, hit me. Yeah.
So it's straight. okay? African Bambaataa is another trailblazer in the hip hop game. But the beats are straight. And Kraftwerk's, they're pulling a lot of influence from so many different sources, okay? But once we get to once we get to the late 80s, things start swinging in hip hop music. So people are starting to be aware of what's happening in jazz music and actually are allowing it to innovate their production. People like Marley Marl, people like Large Pro, Large Professor, people like Q-Tip, people like Milk from MC Light, who gets very little props. Let me play a little something here for y'all. And the beat is coming from the beats slow down and they start to swing a little bit. Right? Check them out. Kane.
Oh, yeah. I'm with this. I'm just gonna sit here laid back to this nice mellow beat, you know, and drop some smooth lyrics. Cause it's 88. Time to set it straight, you know what I'm saying? And there ain't no half stepping. Word. I'm ready.
Rappers stepping to me, they wanna get some, but I'm the Kane, so yo, you know the outcome. Another victory, they can't get with me. So pick a BC day, cause you are history. I'm the authentic poet to get lyrical. For you to beat me, it's gonna take a miracle. And stepping to me, yo, that's a wrong move. So what you on, Hobbs? Dope a dog food. Competition, I just devour. Like a pit bull against a chihuahua. Cause when it comes to being dope, hot damn, I got it good. Now let me tell you who I am. The B-I-G-D-A-double-D-Y-K-A-N-E. Dramatic, Asiatic, not like many. I'm different, so don't compare me to another. Cause they can't hang, word to the mother. At least not with the principal in this pedigree. So when I roll on your rappers, you better be ready to die because you're petty. You're just a butter knife, I'm a machete. This ain't my Ginsu, wait until when you try to front so I can chop into your body. Just because you try to be basing, Friday the 13th, I'ma play Jason. No time to joke, that game, puzzle, or riddle. The name is Big Daddy, yes, big, not little, so define it. Here's your walking papers, sign it, and take a walk as the Canes start to talk, cause
Now, I've never been one to knock the next man for getting his, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I do realize that hip-hop is now a form of showbiz. But this has always been something with which you have to be true. So in the year of 1992, now this is how we do. At the age of 19, heard the scene. A lot of MCs that do not come clean. Frontin' on dealing hard times and rhymes. You see them in the streets and you see no signs of the hell. And they get on stage and tell some old cornball war story. Ring the bell. Word. You're faking the funk. Talking that extra hard junk, you're probably a punk. And I'ma let you know that this way you just don't cut with the artificial flow. Neat things, exotic, breakbacks, and next when fakers try to front, they'll get smoked like blunts. My rhymes penetrate like skunk, and your word up. I think they're faking the funk. You're faking the funk.
You're faking the funk.
Yo, you're faking the funk.
You're faking the funk.
Yo, you're faking the funk.
You're faking the funk.
Yo, you're faking the funk.
You're faking the funk.
Yo, yo.
Ha, your hands, everybody, if you got what it takes. Cause I'm KRS and I'm on the mic and Premier's on the breaks. Going up to the hardcore hip hop. Going up to the hardcore hip hop. Of course we don't flip flop. If you don't know me by now, I doubt you'll ever know me. I never won a Grammy, I won't win a Tony.
Okay, so this is an era where the music is starting to swing. I hear it, right? The beats are slowed down. You've got, it's drawing from jazz elements in a very explicit way. It's not implied. I think the pinnacle of this is once we get to 91, it all comes together with A Tribe Called Quest.
Yo, microphone check 1, 2. What is this? The 5 foot is.
I'm gonna show you precisely where it starts to swing.
Never had a cavity. Got more rhymes than the one that's got family. No need to sweat Arsenio to gain some type of fame. No shame in my game, cause I always be the same. Styles upon styles is what I have.
Drop.
You wanted just to fight for, but you still don't know the half. I sport New Balance sneakers to avoid a narrow path. Messing around with this against the size of the. I never have step, cause I'm not a half stepper. Drink a lot of soda, so they call me Dr. Pepper. Refuse to compete with BS competition. Your name is special ed, so won't you suckle with the mission? I never walk the street, think it's all about me. Even though deep in my heart, it really get beat. I just try my best to like go all out. Some might even say, yo, shorty black, you bug it out.
Zulu Nation, mother's last creation. Minds get flooded, ejaculation. Right on the 2-inch tape, the abstract poet incognito runs the cape, not the best, not the worst, and occasionally I.
Swinging, right? So we've got that happening. We've got that happening, and it's pretty complex. But later on in jazz music, when we get, again, there's like over 20 different iterations and evolutions of jazz that's happened. But once we get up in once we get up into the mid 50s, 60s in particularly, and early 70s, it's this African, this very explicit African influence that's happening with jazz music. And there's some people who were forebearing that before it even really took off the way that it did. And one of those people was Bud Powell. I'm going to play something for you all. And this groove is derivative of the bembe. The bembe. And that bembe groove, I'm gonna play it for you. Un pollo loco. Art Blakey was known for that too. I'm gonna move forward. Okay, so that's a very complex beat. And Art Blakey had a lot of those. And I'm gonna show you how the beats start to become more complex in hip hop music as well. I know time is like really, how much time do I have? Eric? Okay, good. Good. And I wanna open it up for questions. Y'all can ask me anything, all right? So you've got this thing happening. Can y'all feel this groove? So what Art Blakey does is he doubles up in his hi-hat. So it's boom, 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 boom. You hear how it's like 2 or 3 different beats going on at the same time? He's also got another beat that he plays on a tune called The Core, and it goes something like this. It goes. Now watch out now. So, wow, right? So, I listened to Public Enemy and I listened to the Bomb Squad, and I'm like, they got different textures. Now, if you're looking for the exact same thing, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Art Blakey was a champion and student of West African drumming, as was Max Roach, who was you just heard playing with Bud Powell, right? So the complexity of what these people are doing is astronomical. But what's interesting, I want y'all to keep that bembe in your mind because it's like a 6/8 thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. I can't count and play like that. But y'all get it. Okay? So that's something I need to share. All right. So I want y'all to hear something. And what we're listening for here, what we are listening for, and then I'm gonna open it up for questions. I could keep going on and on. I could go all the way up to trap. But what we're listening for here, I want you to listen to timbre. I want you to listen for drops. We learned about drops, right? I want you to listen for. We didn't get into sampling because that's just too on the nose for me. I didn't want to get into that. But I want you to listen to how the Bomb Squad is dealing with the complexities of how you can use the textures of different samples and use different sounding drums, different sounding snare drums, different sounding bass drums. All right? And then I'm gonna open it up for questions. This will be the last. This is called Night of the Living Bass Heads. My PE fans is going crazy. They know what this is.
Have you forgotten that once we were brought here, we were robbed of our name, robbed of our language. We lost our religion, our culture, our God. And many of us, by the way we act, we even lost our mind.
Here it is, bam! And you say, God damn, this is a dope jam. But let's define the term called dope, and you're thinking they funky now. No, here is a true tale. By the ones that deal, all the ones that fail, yeah. You can move if you wanna move. What it proves, it's here like the groove. The problem is this, we gotta fix it. Check out the justice and how they run it. Selling, smelling, sniffing, riffing, and brothers trying to get swift in. Selling their own, rob a home, while some shrivel a bone, like comatose walking around. Please don't confuse this with the sound. I'm talking about bass. together to the bells of those that boost the dose of lack and those that sell the black. Shame on the brother when they dealing. The same block where my 98 be wheeling. And everybody know another kilo. From a corner from a brother, keep another below. And stop killing and killing, stop grilling. Yo, black, yo, we willing. 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Wait a minute, y'all. The fiends are fiending day to day to day. They say no other way. This stuff is really bad. I'm talking about. Hold it. Listen. First serve bases, standing on line, checking the time. Homeboys playing the curve, the same ones they used to do earlier. Now they're gone, passing it on, poison attack the black word.
Okay, so and it goes on and on. So you can hear the complexities of what's happening. There's so much going on. You got Terminator scratching, using the turntable as an instrument, right? Turning something in that was taken away, a social phenomenon, it turns into something that you're controlling. He's controlling his situation by creating an instrument from something that's not supposed to be an instrument, right? So I can go on and on. I want to know if y'all got some questions at this point. Y'all can, whatever y'all want to. Yeah. You know, I won't say that it's not influenced by it, because once something is out here in the ether, you can use it the way you please, the way you wish. Like once it's out here, you can do what you want. I think it's important to know that. I think it's important to know that you have the option to explicitly utilize, you know, jazz sounds or not, you know, but it's out here. And always remember that somebody is doing it, even if it's not in your ear 24 hours. Somebody is doing it. Somebody, like, you know, like, for instance, we listen to early jazz music, right? The more march stuff. There's a trad, they call it trad. There's a traditional jazz scene out here. And people dedicate their life to that, you know? So it's, you know, it's cool. I mean, and I play DJ Premier. I mean, DJ Premier, he goes in and out of straight swung, you know. At this point, it's out here for us, and we can use it. You know what I'm saying? Back and forth? Like me play. You do? Late. Come on up here. Okay, so that's Kaylin Bryant. She's an amazing bass player. We were just playing here yesterday. She's an amazing bass player. Yeah. So, let's see how we're going to flex this. Oh, yeah, that's right.
You know, because we have an online audience as well, so that way everyone can be aware of your great questions and Jerome's answers. Thanks.
So while she's getting her bass, the first question that I just answered was it was a really great question. It was complex. Like, we talked about the evolution of the music and how Creoles were not able to, during the Black Code period of this country, were not able to associate with white folks no more. So they learned from, they were forced to play in black bands, right? Though some of them were playing in black bands anyway. But are we dealing with kind of like the hip hop art moving away from jazz? And I was saying that it'll never move away from it. What might be being pumped in your ear is moving away, but you can always find those elements. You can always find it. The gentleman asked me second to play some examples. So I'm gonna go through some examples. I'm gonna just go in between. Hip hop joint, well, let's start from the root. Jazz, hip hop. This ain't the sound. This is like, that ain't the sound. I'm gonna play. Just change the groove. Come on up here. Kaylin Bryant. So, I just want you to change the groove every 8 bars. Just change the groove every 8 bars. Whatever you decide to do, I'm gonna put something to it. But change the groove every 8 bars. All right? One, just start something up. And when I come in, that's when it's gonna start. And 4 bars, every 4 bars. Here I come. It's all related because it functions in the same way for a generation. The only thing that really separates the generations is outside forces. Oh, sorry about that. This thing is only said. Thank you, Kaylin. Yes. The culture is interchangeable. between time, space, and generation. So if there's a groove that I play that works for today, I can make it work for Fletcher Henderson's band in the 20s. I should be able to make a Fletcher Henderson a groove. I should make a shimmy beat. I should be able to play a shimmy beat, and somebody who understands and is steeped in the culture and gets it should be able to flow over it. Because it's supposed to be interchangeable. And what I'm saying is that what separates us is outside forces and technology. Technology. Kaiser Marshall, a great drummer who played with Fletcher Henderson, or Zuddy Singleton, or Baby Dodds, early drummers here, I'm talking about early. They didn't have MPCs to work with. They didn't have television sets. They didn't have the internet. That's why sounds are different now. Because of that. Right? So they learn how to make these machines swing. That's what they did. They learned how to make them swing. Because at first they didn't know how to do it. But somebody figured it out. Right? Any questions? Y'all got to come to the mic, though. Remember? Y'all remember that?
Anybody any questions? We got one from our online viewers.
Oh, we do?
I can ask that one.
Cool.
Is this on? Cool. So this is a question from Kelly Bailey. Kelly, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Is the transition between genres, i.e. gospel to hip-hop or jazz to hip-hop, easier for certain types of music for drummers?
I wouldn't say it's easier, but I will say if you're coming through the Black American tradition, because at this point there is one, and it's a rich one at this point. It's young, but it's rich. You should be able to vacillate between styles seamlessly. You should be able to. You should. You probably can't because if you're having problems with it, you're comparing yourself to people who came up like in that particular thing. Like I didn't grow up deep in the church. I know people who did, and they have a great understanding, but I can play gospel music, right? Leon Dorsey is very important. I understand why he's important. I understand why Reverend Cleveland is important. So you just have to educate yourself, respect the music. Again, respect your elders, learn from them. And elders, respect the youth. Learn from them. Make sure you're not biting. Right? Well, the way you don't bite, okay. So this is, I play. The young lady asked, "How do you not bite?" Listen to this beat.
When you say you love me, it doesn't matter. It goes into my head as just chit chatter. You may think it's egotistical or just very free, but what you say, I take none of it seriously. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you so. I'd let you pretend to read me, and then you'd know. Cause I hate when one attempts to add.
So
now on, it's not MC Light. Listen up.
I love MC Light. So K-Rock on the beat. Okay, so if I play that. That's verbatim. That's verbatim. That's the beat verbatim. And it's cool, it worked. But I'm a creative person. So how about this? find a way to make it you. That's the whole thing. You have to find a way to make it you. And that's the unsung rules. If everybody was doing what was hot and didn't do their own thing, it's the unsung rules. If you know, when Pac, how old, I don't know how old you are, but I'm not gonna ask because it's rude. But okay, good. So when Pac came out, so we can talk on this. When Pac came out, do you know how many people came out with a bandana on the side of their head and a scar? Man, there was a dude named, y'all Google this, there was a dude named Drama. Ja Rule was going that route too. Come on, people was, come on, man, we know where you getting that from. But none of them, well, Ja Rule had a career, but like a lot of the people who was being like that, we don't even know who they are right now. You got to be authentic as possible, whether you Fats Waller. Fats Waller was around after James P. Johnson. What if he was trying to be like James P. Johnson? We wouldn't know who Fats Waller was or is. So the whole point is to jump out there and be yourself. A lot of people, it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that. So that's what I mean when I say not biting. But if you're gonna do it, you can pay homage by playing a piece of what you're playing. Like that's paying homage to Al Green. Y'all know where that's from? That's mahogany, right? And Rod did it too, right? But they did it their way. You got to do it your way, even if it's something small. See, that right there, that's me. You know what I'm saying? That hi-hat thing, I just, you know. That's what I mean when I say if you're going to do it, you got to flip it. That's the thing about sampling. That's the thing about what Kool Herc did when he took a break beat, when he took the part of the song that just had the drums and was going between two turntables. Oh, man, I'm going to keep that. Oh, man. Because if in his mind, in his imagination, he wanted to just hear that. And clearly, billions of people around the world wanted to hear that because we still doing it to this day, right? So he took what James Brown did and flipped it. He took what Baby Huey did and flipped it. He did it his way, how he heard it. And that's how we're supposed to deal and approach all of black art, all of black art. Whether you painting, don't look just like Ernie Barnes. Do your thing. If you're writing, we don't need another whitest eye. Though the bluest eye, we don't need another bluest eye. Toni Morrison did that. Do it your way. Maybe they won't like it, but that's okay. At least it's you. That's what this is about. Questions? Going once? Going twice? All right. I would need tom-toms for that. But I have a recording, and I composed a piece. I composed a lot of pieces on that. There's a solo drum piece. Well, you just want me to play. Is that what that is? Okay. I have. Yes. If you, okay, go home. I want you to check out. Don't leave now. I'm gonna play, but I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what I mean. What I mean by you have to take what someone did. Maybe you get inspired by the idea, but you have to do it your way. So I have a recording called Solidarity, and there's a track on there called Heart, and I also have a track on there called Convo with Senator Flowers. One is a solo drum piece. And one is a piece that I composed, well, it's a duet between me and a senator named Senator Stephanie Flowers, and I perform with her. She had a video that went viral a few years ago. When you see it, you'll know who it is. And if you look up Max Roach, The Drum Also Waltzes, or if you look up Max Roach Drum Conversations, that's where I'm getting my inspiration from, right? But let me try something. Let me put something together, and then y'all can go. Yes. I Love Your Smile. Have you heard a jazz version of that? But I don't know who just said that. It's my arrangement. Yeah, Shanice's joint, but I did a little second line thing to it. Okay, here we go. I'm working with a few drums. That's all you need. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all being here. I'm here. I got to break down, so, it's good to see y'all. Thanks for coming.
Can we have one more warm round of applause for the great Jerome Jennings?
All right.
I can't think of a better way to end this event than with that performance. Thank you so much for sharing that. And just a reminder, we have one more event as part of this series next Tuesday with our artistic director, the great Christian McBride. He'll be doing an edition of his Lowdown series that he does on Sirius XM. So you're going to want to come out for that. That's same time, same place, just next Tuesday on the 20th. And special thanks again to the IJS for having us, to Yardbird Entertainment for making us look pretty, to all our friends who tuned in online, to all of you for being here. And on behalf of Jazz House Kids, thanks so much, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks.